Says I'm live. Woohoo! How's it going? Peace be with you, my friends and family. Let me just take a second to share this link out because I've kind of been running late today. Hopefully, the graphics are okay with as bad as the camera it is with the lighting and everything. Um, so, yeah, I'm just going to give this a second, like I said, to share out the link and um, not get distracted from that. Hopefully, you guys are doing well and everything. It's a pretty nice day here, Mount Shasta. I don't think you'll be able to see. Oh, da, 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 da. There she is. Hey, I could probably shift myself over and sit there in front of her. How about that? Yay. I'm outside of Starbucks today. I was like running late. I got in late last night. I was at the, hey Kyle, how's it going? I was at the venue of the Christspiracy viewing party until really late. It was really nice. I had a lot of hands to help set up and tear down, and then the people that kind of stay there were just really chill, and they have a nice little setup in this hut outside that has like couches and a wood stove and stuff. So we kind of just sat out there and chilled for a little while after all of the work was done. But it's been, hi birdies, it's been a really long past few days. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to talk about everything that's happened with the Christspiracy event. And also shout out to my new friend who, new friend, we met before, but whatever, who helped me set up for all of the stuff and just basically went above and beyond anything that I could have asked for in helping. Just like in every arena, basically, not just with the food. Like, I'm actually still on fruitarian, and I'm super excited to be able to say that. Like, I cooked didn't cook. There wasn't actually anything cooked. It was all raw, but multiple raw cheeses, raw ranch. I made, yesterday was Brandon's birthday. So for his birthday, I made him, he originally had asked for a cheesecake. And then I'm like, all right, do you want a regular cheesecake or a berry cheesecake? And he's like, oh, the more berries, the better. And then the next time I met up, it was like he was saying, oh, maybe some chocolate cheesecake. So I ended up making 2 different cheesecakes. One of them was a double layer, like a berry, triple berry, or maybe it was 4 berries, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries, I think. So that was like the berry layer on top, and then the classic cheesecake, and then the crust. And then I did the other cheesecake with a chocolate layer on the top, and then a vanilla, and then the bottom. And also, he mentioned carrot cake. So I made these. I looked up this recipe for raw carrot cake bites, and they went over really well. Everyone really liked them. So yeah, anyways, I said all of that to say that I'm super proud of myself for not eating any of the food that I made. And people are probably like, how could you, cook all this, prepare all this stuff without tasting it? But I had at least 2 taste testers that were, there with me and willing to taste anything. So I was really excited about that. And yeah, they really helped me out. And yeah, so I was going to say more, but I don't want to say any names or anything because I know that some people watching aren't very friendly towards me and want to send curse energy towards people that support me or are friends with me or whatever. And not today, Satan. So yeah, it was a really good experience, and it took a lot to set up. I bought this popcorn machine. I'm gonna have to post a picture. I think another person who attended it actually snapped a picture of the buffet, and it shows. Is there something wrong with my internet connection? snapped a picture of the buffet and me in my white dress. So I'll post that later today if I can get my hands on it. But yeah, I bought a little popcorn machine. I was super stoked about having this cute little movie theater like thing. I'd like to do vegan movie nights going forward in the future. So it would be really cool to have that and just like have. I love popcorn. Who doesn't love popcorn in a movie? So yeah, it's like one of my favorite snacks. And even then, I didn't eat any of it. So yeah, I meant to bring the container of the algae supplements that I've been taking. Some of the people that work at the venue run an algae business, so they were like really talking it up and everything. And mainly the benefits that they pointed me towards were like, your skin will be like, younger looking, and all of these like, kind of more superficial benefits, which is ultimately why I'm like, okay, yes, I would love that. I would love like, better skin and all these things. But one of the things is actually has like a bunch of nutrients that our body is missing. So it, like on their website, it actually says it helps to curb your appetite naturally because it gives your body the nutrients that it needs instead of like, constantly searching for all of these things. And I think it's really been helping on my fruitarian / fasting lifestyle because I like Friday, right, the day before the event, I basically was doing a whole bunch of running around. I took 4 of the algae pills and supplements in the morning. And then I did a bunch of running around throughout the day and all this stuff, and basically had like maybe a handful of grapes all day. Yesterday, I got up early in the morning, had to make desserts and just running. And I had like maybe a few pieces of watermelon. And then at the end of the day on the way home at like 10 o'clock at night, I had an apple. Like I'm not feeling hungry at all. And I have like all this energy. I'm super stoked right now and like really impressed that I am like, how many times have you guys heard me say that I struggle so much with the gluttony demon and eating and all of this stuff? And I'm like, hello, I'm doing it. Like, so yeah, I'm excited to share that victory with you. Everything's going good so far. 16 whole days. So yeah, very exciting. The next vegan event that I'm going to be doing on June, is this June? Yeah, June 29th, is something called the Raw Food Worldwide Meetup. And I'm not sure if she goes by her name Jamie, but I think on Instagram she's Ageless Beauty. With some numbers that I don't have because I had to switch phones because I'm having, hey Dave, how's it going? Having some issues with my other phone right now that I need to get fixed. But yeah, so she's trying to organize a raw food meetup for people all over the world. So like just all these different cities, even just a small meeting. I'm planning to meet people up in the Mount Shasta City Park to do that and just kind of have a little bit of fruits and hopefully keep the light refreshments to actually light refreshments, especially since it's supposed to be a raw meetup. But yeah, if you've attended any of my events, especially recently, when I say light refreshments, I'm like, dude, I just bought a popcorn maker. And they're like, yeah, I'll have to show you the spread because it was anything but light refreshments. We were joking in there. I'm like, maybe I should go to an event that's put on by someone else that says light refreshments so I can go and actually see what light refreshments means, because I clearly don't have the right mindset here about what yeah, it's kind of been funny because yeah, I've been trying to like live vicariously through other people. I'm like, you eat this, like let me watch you eat this. Like I can't eat it, so you eat it. Yeah. I ended up buying a pizza for someone yesterday. I'm like bringing all the ingredients. I'm like, you need to eat this for me. Thank you. So hopefully that's good. But yeah. Hey, Queen, what is your name? Queenie Atrati. How's it going? BOC, huh? What does that mean? At least it's not blood over intent. Hopefully. The Saints are here. Woohoo! Yes. I agree with that. We're here to change the world, and I agree with repenting. We definitely should take a look in the mirror and see where our shortcomings are and what we can do better, and then do better. So I feel a lot better actually saying that now that I'm like 16 days into my controlling my eating habits. So yeah, hopefully I can be inspiring to some other people to basically get on board and, purify your mind, body, and soul with the right food. Obviously, veganism is like the bare minimum for me. Like if you just need to be vegan. If you want to be a junk food vegan, that's fine. But if you're worried about, your health, you need to move towards fruitarian. For me, I don't care as long as you're vegan and leave the animals alone. So, yeah. Anyways, during the Christspiracy event, I am kind of bummed because I didn't exactly get to focus so much on the actual documentary itself. Um, but I really liked being in the sound booth. I felt like really powerful, towering over people, and like I could see everybody and what was going on in the whole room. So that was pretty fun. Um, but yeah, I had to when someone was walking out, like at one point I noticed, I'm like, I think she's looking for me, and she looks upset. So I needed to go down and like figure it out. I need to go to fill up the food at the kitchen and take care of this or that. So I kind of got distracted from the actual documentary. But from what I did see, it was really awesome. And the producers did a live Q&A at the end and actually let five of us go up there and say our piece. So that was really cool. Yeah, this little girl was there. She was so cute. She actually came up to me before the Q&A and was like, I have a question. I'm like, okay. It's like, how can I be vegetarian? Like, well, you can, be vegan by whatever. And I'm like, what's your favorite food? And she's like, cabbage. I was not expecting that from a child. I was like, wow, okay, well, that's already vegan. So what's your second favorite food? Broccoli. You're literally already there. Like, so it was really kind of fun to interact with her. And then she went on the screen too, and she like asked the producers, like, I was wondering if it would be okay if someday I could be a hero for animals too, like you guys. And I think unfortunately they kind of assumed that she was already vegan, so they kind of responded to her in that way, like, you're already helping animals and whatever. But yeah, I went up to her afterwards and I was like, anytime that you choose not to eat animals and don't choose to eat meat or whatever, you are saving animals. You might not be actually physically removing them from that situation, but the way that it works is when you say you want it, that they provide it for you, right? So I ended up hooking up her, like, I was like, take whatever you want off the buffet, like take it home. I gave her like this whole bottle. I'm like, do you like ranch dressing? And gave her a whole bottle of ranch dressing and cheeses and like, I don't know. I was just trying to basically give her anything to help her start on her journey. And yeah, that was so cute that she was like, would it be okay if I could be a hero for the animals someday too when I grow up? It's like, oh, that's so precious. Like these kids do have the heart. Like they're the future of our world. And, if you have a live rabbit in your hand and you have an apple or maybe a strawberry, something a little bit more easily consumed by children, right? They're going to go for the strawberry every time over the rabbit isn't even dead. So they would want to cuddle with the rabbit while eating the strawberry, maybe even feed some of the strawberry to the rabbit, right? These are our natural instincts as humans, and we get programmed and moved away from that over time, like especially with the kids that are like hunting. I think they showed quite a little bit about like this little kid that was like hunting his first deer in the Christspiracy movie, and it was like part of the initiation to get into their, like, I think it was a church, as bizarre as that is. But yeah, the kid was like, I felt really bad. But then you have like all these adults that are like, high five, good job. And the adult even came up and like rubbed the deer's blood on the kid's face and said, you need to keep this on your face until the next day. It's like, when you remove yourself from those lifestyles, like your eyes just get open to how psychotic that is. Like if you killed a dog and like go and wipe its blood, like we would call that psychopathy, right? Psychopathic. But because of our cultural programming, it's okay to kill a deer but not a dog, right? If you lived in China, you'd not China. I'm not trying to like demonize China. I know not everyone in China eats dogs, whatever. I'm just saying, if you lived in another country, you would be open to eating other things, right? So it's all about our programming. And once you really like step back from that, not only do you see how like demonic and dark that those lifestyles are, but yeah, it just opens your mind up to so much compassion. Like I did like cows before, but like never to the extent that I'm like wanting to go and hug on them and like make a cow sanctuary and actually make a better world for them. Like realistically, we owe so much to the cows. Like I just want to make a better world for them, and humans are getting it too. Like mainly, yeah, I want to have like, roads with walls and stuff on the sides so the animals can't even try to pass them. But then we can have like under bridges that they can go naturally, like, underneath them and cross and stuff. And just basically turn all the farms into sanctuaries. And realistically, they should be able to just roam wherever they want. Just like you and I want to be able to roam wherever we want. So a lot of things need to be changed, but cows are really like something that I'm very passionate about. So yeah. So yeah, Dave, the Queen's throne. I was kind of standing a lot of the time though, because I felt like really powerful, just like standing over there. I'm like, yes, I like this. Hey, Red Pill, how's it going? Looking good. Oh, thank you. How's your weekend going? My weekend kind of just started today, and I mean, I got up kind of early to do this, and still was running late. So, yeah, kind of relaxing now. So I'm happy about that. I'm on the downhill for a little bit, chilling. Tomorrow I'm going back to the sanctuary that we held the event at, and I got a meeting with the owner. And I don't take donations for anything that I do, but I did offer that we could put out like a little basket or something, in case anyone did want to give donations, and I would just give it all to the house just because they let me use the space for free. I want to help the space, progress and get better and like come to fruition. What like just it's a really great land, and um I don't know, a lot of the people there are really great. It's just like, I mean, I can't name anyone that's not, but yeah. Um so yeah, I collected a little bit for him, and I'm going to take that to him tomorrow. But I even brought this up because they have a massage chair there, and like I've been thinking about that massage chair because I was on my feet like all day yesterday and kind of the day before, and it's like my back is hurting. Like I just want to sit down and like relax. And so I'm thinking about, going and hitting up that massage chair as part of my weekend relaxation and recovery from all of that fun stuff that happened. But yeah, the documentary was really good. It did have some parts in there that wouldn't be child friendly, like an adult, like a few adults had to get up and like walk out of the room just because it's just too much emotionally to just see. Just yeah, some of the stuff was actually really interesting. I don't know if Kyle, are you still here? But like the part where they did the drone to try to check out, like to stop these people who were trying to essentially smuggle cows from an area that was not like, it's illegal to kill them, to like across the border so that they could sell the cows for slaughter or whatever. And it was like they showed the like high speed car chase type like situation where they're trying to like go and save. We're all sitting there like, yay, go and save the cows. Like it was really cool. Some of the crowd was really interactive with the documentary, like cheering when animals are saved and whatever. But yeah, they were chasing down this truck, and it was like an open box truck thing, and when they showed the drone going over the actual truck, it was like so many cows stuffed in this like little tiny, like they literally cram it into capacity, and it's just really sad. And yeah, they got all this footage to give to the cops to get the people in trouble for trafficking, and nothing happened, because ultimately the powers that be are all wrapped in this together. Like, we're on a human farm, and as long as we farm others, we can be farmed, right? Whatever we do to them, we get back to ourselves. If you don't want to work a 9 to 5, if you don't want to be a slave paying taxes, the first thing that you need to do is go vegan, because every time that you eat a non-vegan meal, you're actually consenting to that lifestyle. Animals are enslaved, right? Especially like when you think of dairy and eggs, and even bees for honey. Bees don't fly around to collect pollen and make honey for you. They don't collect it for me either. I'm just saying they make it for themselves. So for us to go in and say, oh, you have enough honey, let me just take the excess, right? Is it okay for me to come into your house and say, oh, this is excess, let me just take it? How much excess can I take from your house before you say, this is stealing, clearly, right? That's what we do to the bees. So you can't really complain about paying taxes, for instance. If you're taxing them, you can't complain about, being on a farm and being enslaved if we do it to them. Even with the COVID stuff, right? Like, I don't agree with any of the lockdowns or anything, but like, oh, being quarantined, oh, I'm locked in my house. It's like, at least your house is bigger than that cow's pen that they're trapped in. Like, all of these things, there's like karmic ties, because the powers that be know that karma is real, right? So they don't want to, they're not stupid. They're not like, how can I rack up bad karma for myself today, right? No, they get us to do bad so that we are owed bad karma, and they can step in and be that bad karma for us, right? So there's this mechanisms that we need to understand, the underlying connection between human suffering and animal suffering, what we're causing on others. So many humans are just like, oh, how do we stop human suffering? And just so human focused. And it's like, do you not realize that humans are causing so much suffering for this earth? Not even just for the animals, but like, we've been conditioned and programmed to have all these different practices that are bad for the earth. Plastic, like, I mean, everything, right? Our vehicles, the way that we do everything has been essentially given to us by the powers that be, right? None of these inventions come from humans. Like, oh, Alexander Graham Bell, like, they want us to think that these humans are the ones that are inventing these, when realistically they're either inverts or they're getting information from demons, like, because humans just aren't that bright. I hate to say that. Obviously, there is intelligence amongst the human species, but when God created us, it was like, I've said this before, it's like not this snake-like, intelligent, cunning, like predator mentality. We were given this, think of a baby, right? Like, innocent and naive and trusting. On your first day of kindergarten, you're not going in there expecting anyone's lying to you, right? You go in there like, ready to absorb all this information, and you trust it. You take it all in. Whatever your parents say, you just trust that they're not lying to you, right? Totally different mentalities. Humans are on the naive side. And yeah, all of these inventions, they're nothing new either. We've had computers in previous cycles. We've had phones in previous, like, everything. There's nothing new under the sun, right? So yes. Dave says we're infants. Yeah, we still are too. It was channeled to me that, humans are supposed to live hundreds of years in vibrant youth, and that we don't even fully mature until 200. Can you imagine, like, if that is true and a human doesn't fully mature till 200, literally the oldest person that is still like essentially an immature baby compared to that. Because how old is the oldest person that like, yeah, I think maybe the oldest I've met is 101. I'm not really, I don't know off the top of my head, because I haven't really met that old of people before. But anyways, Kyle says, what was your favorite part of the documentary? The drone footage was brutal. Well, my favorite part, I was going to say, I'm actually kind of a little bit bummed that they didn't mention, like, at least I didn't hear, because like I said, I was kind of hosting and in and out and like whatever. I didn't hear specifically the Essenes, and I really, really wish they would have. Like, I told them this in the question and answer. I just said, I don't know if you guys know about the Gospel of the Holy 12, but it talks about, Christ being vegan, and this has really changed my life and whatever. So I did share it with them at the end. I'm not sure if they had been exposed to it or not, but yeah, I really wish they would have mentioned the Essenes, because if you read the Essene Gospels, it's so clear. Like, Christ even says, only eat fruits and seeds and like nuts, essentially, if you're my followers. Do this if you follow me. So yeah, a lot of the other Gospels kind of don't, like the Gospel of Thomas, for instance. A lot of people point to it. It has a lot of fragmented scriptures, but for me, if it contradicts the Gospel of the Holy 12, like the one verse that's popping up in my head is this whole idea of the eating with unclean hands. In the Gospel of the Holy 12, it tells you the context, right? So these Pharisees, Sadducees, these religious leaders come up to Christ, and they're like, why don't your followers do this, 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 and this before eating, right? Like, there's wash your cups, wash your hands, there was all these ceremonial practices that were added by the powers, that the religious powers of that day, that they're like, why don't your people follow our traditions, right? And Christ is like, sometimes it's not even available for people to follow those traditions. Like, those aren't even, what God commanded. And he clearly says, like, it's both what goes in and what comes out that defiles you, right? Like, if you sit here and eat a pile of pig flesh, you really are going to try to tell me that that's not going to defile this temple? This is supposed to be the temple of the Holy Spirit, right? If you walked into a temple and you saw a bunch of rotting carcasses hanging from the ceiling, is that a holy temple to you? Or are you probably going to be like plugging your nose and gagging, maybe even getting emotional and getting out of there? I'm certainly not staying for worship. You're just going to sit there and praise and worship God while there's like cow bodies swinging around from hooks, like dangling, blood dripping around you? No, that's not a holy temple, right? A holy temple, imagine going in and there's like maybe it's part of, like, it has a waterfall in it, and like just fruit trees blooming everywhere, and just like a Garden of Eden, right? That is the temple that we're supposed to be. So yeah, it's both what comes in and what comes out that defiles you. So yeah, it was like they were so focused on cleaning their hands, and he's like, both of these other things are more important than cleaning your hands even, right? You need to make sure that what is coming out is pure and what is going in is pure, so that you can be pure, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Isn't that what they say? So if you're putting garbage in, anyways, yeah, so Kyle, I'm trying to come back. Hey, David D, how's it going? David says, I'm sorry. I'm like, that's okay. I think you had to work last night, didn't you? Red Pill says, I always like seeing your sharp cat eyes mascara. Ooh, thank you. What are your goals for the end of the year? Kyle, I'll come back to the favorite part of the documentary, because I got to think about it. I'm really wanting to watch it again where I can actually sit there and focus. But I actually really loved how they talked about, I think Josephus is the historian that mentioned that James the Just was holy from the womb. And, and they also mentioned that James was actually the leader of the church. I liked how they kind of touched a little bit on Paul. In the Q&A, someone from our group that basically asked what Paul had to do with it. And I think a lot of people are still under the impression that Paul's I don't want to say Christian, because they weren't called Christians back then, right? They were called the followers of the way. They were, the Wayans. That doesn't come off as well as Christians. But anyways, Paul, from my studies, I've been studying this for 6 or 7 years. He faked, so he was persecuting them and all this stuff before. And then at one point he faked his conversion so that he could infiltrate and corrupt the movement from within. I don't believe that it was his genius that did this. He was tied to the religious leaders. the government officials of the time of Rome, right? And Christ came in basically and started this huge uprising. Like the whole idea of like go sell your cloak and buy a sword, when you actually see the historical context of what was going on in this time, like an actual war, like Christ was like this war, like he was a rebel hero, and that's awesome. So yeah, Paul basically came in, was sent in to pacify the movement. You know, he even says, you know, oh, governments are essentially ordained by God, and you follow the government, right? Like, was it Romans 13 or something? I'm not sure. Or is that the love chapter? I don't know. But the love chapter, you know, that's stolen from the Essene Christ. Christ, how much more is stolen from Christ? I even heard recently, semi-recently, that maybe Hebrews was as well. So it's like Paul stole all of this stuff. And yeah, there's so much information about how his teachings after his conversion, how are you going to claim that you were converted by Christ when you're teaching something that goes against Christ's, even in the Bible, right? Like, Christ wasn't against women, and Paul says women shouldn't speak in the church. And, you know, a side note, Paul probably said that because of the fact that Mary was Christ's like number one, like they were together in the ministry. And when Christ, you know, was crucified, Mary was the one that went and rallied up all of the disciples and basically said, you know, don't be afraid. We need to carry on this work. Death isn't the end. Like, so it makes a lot of sense when you see how impactful Mary was, that Paul would turn around and basically kind of be this misogynist pig. So, and realistically, there's a lot of that stuff in like the patriarchal type leaning, you know, demonization of the feminine and divine, and females in general just not being allowed to be in such offices as the men and all that kind of nonsense. So I do think that they're, you know, God created male and female differently. We're supposed to be like complementary opposites to each other and work together. Like your strengths are your strengths and mine are mine, and they come together, and like the weaknesses also balance out and all of these other things. So I do think that there's, you know, there's a place for everything, and it's not, I'm not a feminist. I don't think that, you know, women are like way better than men, or like, it's not, I don't believe that. So hopefully that doesn't come off as that. But yeah, I kind of have a lot of people accuse me of being like a leftist and all this stuff just because I'm vegan. It doesn't really make, it only makes sense when you're in these limited mentalities. But how did they get veganism and being pro-life, right? Over here, we're pro-life, we protect human babies. How is that the opposite of protecting animal babies, right? Like they have divided something that should be on the same, it's pro-life, right? I'm pro-life, so I am against killing babies in the womb. Like this is the safest place for a baby, the mother's womb. So I'm against abortion, like in any case. I know that's not a popular opinion. You know, I've read stories about women that had ectopic pregnancies, and they went to full term, perfectly fine, perfectly healthy, had their babies. The medical industry will come in and scare you and, you know, say all these things. They'll even give you what they're doing, like blood testing and all these things these days, because, you know, you don't want, there's this such a high chance that your baby might be like autistic or like any of these like Down syndrome or any of these like things that they tried to basically, you know, hey, you want to kill your baby? Yeah, you want to kill your, like, it's a sick, it's just sick. And a lot of it has to do with like fear and ignorance, because humans have been kept in ignorance deliberately, right? You don't want the goyim on your farm to actually know the truth, right? Because then they might, knowledge is power, right? They might actually do something about it. So yeah. Red pill, what are you, sorry, I said this and then didn't. What are my goals for the end of the year? I apologize for being a little bit scatterbrained this morning, but hey, Cole, how's it going? Realistically, red pill, my goals are still kind of the same, just to become a better version of myself possible, and really develop a community around me. I have like just a lot of love to give, and I don't just like go around love and lighting everyone. I just don't feel that that's sincere. I want to have real love for people and like real friendships, real connections where like I know what I can get you for your birthday, right? Like, or what you want to, like I'll make you a dessert for you. Like that's what I really want in my life. And so I'm really trying to work on, essentially the vegan community, because veganism, like we can connect on all the other, but like I'm trying to make a vegan world, and that's like what I'm the most passionate about. So if, like I actually said last Sunday or Saturday at the park when we had that vegan meeting, someone was like saying, why can't we be friends? And I was like, well, let me tell you why we can't be friends. And it's because I'm trying to make a vegan world, and every time that you eat something that's not vegan, you're actively working against me, and that's not what a friend does. Like, friends support each other and whatever. Like, I don't want friends that are working against me. So it's really important for me to make those connections. And yeah, that's kind of my goal, is to push the golden age dream further. And that's kind of, that's what I've been doing for 7 years. I know it's taken me a long time. It's not just me. I'm not the only one holding us back, people. Like, I'm over here doing fruitarian and really trying. But, I can't do it on my own. I need other people to, essentially get on board with the dream, and not just dreaming, but actually doing, right? We can't just be like, oh, I dream of a vegan world while we like eat McDonald's cheeseburgers, right? You actually have to do what is necessary to make that dream come true. You can't just sit by and hope that it's going to happen. So yeah, that's kind of my goal, is to make better connections. And I've made a lot of more connections recently, like in the vegan world, essentially, and hopefully that will help spread the message. One of the first, I was mentioning to another friend, one of the first things that if I got like a serious chunk of cash would be to shut down the slaughterhouse in the county, right? So that every farmer now has to ship their animals even further to be slaughtered. And so it will negatively impact their business and hopefully get them to shut down. So that would be my first goal, if I got money. But I also, I've talked before about the Queen's Kitchen and having like this delicious vegan food that's free all the time. I'm going to start in Mount Shasta City, and my goal is to like buy everything pretty much, and not just, have the Queen's Kitchen, but buy all of the restaurants. Like, you can stay what restaurant you are, just make everything vegan. Like, you don't need to, literally, you can make everything that you already do with plants. So there's no excuse at this point. But yeah, everything will be vegan, and stores. And I just have a lot of goals for the future. And I've talked before about making a golden age centered video, which I need to do. So Dave says that there doesn't seem anything pure or holy about slaughter. Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's not. It's like they kind of mentioned in the movie, this whole idea of like sacrificing animals to the gods to like appease like their anger, or to like give you a better harvest or whatever. For my studies, that behave, at least as far as the oh wait, I wanted to show you guys this too. Look at this. I was gifted this yesterday, this Bible. It's huge. It also has like illustrations and stuff in it. It's really cool. It's in really nice condition as well, so I'm really grateful for this. But yeah, so as far as my biblical studies go, the Israelites, they were in Egyptian slavery, and that's where they actually learned all of this sacrificing to gods and all of the, I don't want to say paganism, because I'm considered pagan because I don't follow the world's mainstream religions, but essentially evil, because that's what they're sacrificing animals to gods is evil. And these bloodthirsty demons, will give you a good harvest or like whatever, because they want to feed into it to keep you corrupting yourself and hurting others, because you're sitting there racking up bad karma on yourself so that your grain can grow a little bit taller. Like, that's stupid. Why don't you find out, use your brain, right, how to use plants? Like, green manure is made from plants that are grown like specifically for fertilization of plants. There's like, wood ash. There's there's like all sorts of other things that you could use to help your stuff grow that doesn't include hurting animals and racking up bad karma for yourself. Um, so yeah. All right, cool. Sorry it's taken me so long to um to get to your thing. Have you checked out Seventh Day Adventism? They are mostly vegan and vegetarian. Um, the Mount Shasta group actually does vegan potlucks 2 Saturdays of the month, like the first and the third. Unfortunately, Saturday's my Sabbath or my fasting day, so I won't be able to eat. But I do plan to go and at least check it out and kind of like spread the vegan community vibe. But the problem that I'll probably run into is that they're very firm believers on the Bible, and I'm not. I fully believe that the Bible lies about Christ. Like, he did not eat fish. He was not a sinner. Like, he was a true prophet of God who came to show us God's way. And if you are a true prophet of God and you're trying to teach God's way, that's plants only. Like, that's his way. He never changed from the Garden of Eden. So, but yeah, I would love to check out the group and at least try to spread a little bit and maybe get some people on the Essene path. But I have mentioned before, like, I want to start my own church, and I have like at least one other person on board from the vegan community that basically said, I'll be there. So I do want to get that started. Yeah. So I'll keep you on whatever alert for that. And also, can you rate the film 1 to 10? Just joined. I would definitely say it's a 9 and maybe a 10 if I got to sit and watch it. There were some things that were left out that they didn't really mention the scenes like fully, but they did a really good job, and they actually kind of covered multiple different religions as well. And talked about, like, they interviewed Buddhist monks and were like, how can a Buddhist even eat meat, whatever, and like, oh, you can eat meat if it's not slaughtered. I'm like, what? So if it's roadkill, basically you can eat roadkill. And then it's just like this whole concept of eating meat, once you actually study Buddhist, like the idea to end suffering, that alone means that you're not causing suffering for animals, and realistically you're not causing suffering for yourself. Every time that you put rotting dead flesh into your mouth, you're literally creating this environment of disease, of like, just all of these things can just come into your life because of that. And also, like, the energy that animal had, not only throughout their life, for the dairy cows, if they're they're raped pregnant, their babies are constantly stolen from them. Like, that's going to be a sad cow, and you are ingesting that sadness. All of the animals, whether they're dairy or not, when they get loaded up on that truck, when they're getting unloaded from the truck and forced into the slaughterhouse, they even showed clips of it, right? Like, the animals, they made the walls so small so that the animals try to, like, everything they can to turn around out of that narrow hallway and get away from what's happening. Not only do they smell, right? They can smell the fact that they are around blood and death of their sisters, but they can hear, like, their cries, right? The cows in front of them that are going to slaughter. So it's a really, like, adrenalized situation, right? This fear, all of this stuff, and you're eating that. So yeah, when you actually understand, like, Buddhism and, like, these concepts, the whole idea of eating meat just goes against it. So yeah. And, like, enlightenment, I've told you before, well, this is a long time ago, but one of the yogis has done muscle testing with people that are eating flesh, and said that anytime that you eat flesh, it actually shuts down your higher energy centers and works directly against ascension practices. So if you're trying to attain enlightenment, which is what, Buddhism claims to be about, those things are directly interfering with your energy system. And that makes sense, right? It's like this animalistic thing to go and, like, eat flesh. It's not a higher vibration, like, from your higher self, your divine nature, to do that, right? Your divine nature isn't a demon that wants to eat flesh. So well, I guess I can't say that for everyone, but some some souls have definitely fallen from grace a lot farther than others, and hopefully they come back to the light. But anyways, Kyle says exposés usually shut down slaughterhouses. I'm not sure how I would do an expose, like a get inside, and I'm definitely not willing to like sign up for the job to like, yeah. From what I've seen, it's like, you have to go through like a driveway and stuff to actually get up to it. So I'm sure that there's going to be security and all that kind of stuff. I'm open to any suggestions, but yeah, I don't know how I would pull that off without having people that actually go in. And as far as like breaking into places to rescue animals, I love the thought, but you have to think of the long-term consequences of your actions, and like you're trespassing, you're technically stealing like livestock, right? This is their product. You're stealing that, like you're putting yourself at risk of getting locked up to save an animal, which, I'm not against that. Christ literally died to save animals. But if you have a long-term plan like me, I can't just go and do something really stupid and get locked up and get taken out of the game, right? Like there's a bigger picture here, and it's saving all of the animals, right? Making a better world for all of the animals. And yeah, unfortunately, there are animals that are suffering right now and are going to die. There's going to be humans that suffer and die right now too, until we can get to that point. But again, it's like the bigger picture. That's what I wish I could stop that, obviously, but I can't, right? I can't anyone watching. I can't force you to go vegan. Like I can't force anybody to go vegan. Well, until I start buying the place, right? And then there's not any supply and demand. So obviously there is a way for that, but I can't just force people to change. So I can't force the situation to change, right? I am definitely trying to get better at my, the way that I handle the situation with non-vegans, to try to be more, like the Christ always said. It says he looked on them with compassion because he understood that they were being influenced by dark forces, right? Like everyone's under this black magic spell. And so yeah, having compassion is something that I've definitely struggled with for the perpetrators of the violence, but I'm trying to be better at that, so that I can approach the situation in a way that really convinces people to do what's best, not only for them, but for the world around us, right? Especially if you have children or you want children, like we need to make the world a better place for them. And what we're doing has gotten us to where we are, and where we are now is not good. We need to like switch directions and change course and actually do something to change ourselves in the future. And realistically, veganism is like the biggest step that we can do. Obviously, getting rid of the plastic, stopping the chemtrails, the 5G, like those are other things that we need to address as well. But the most suffering that's happening right now is humans causing to everything else around us, which is, veganism is what we need to do to fix it. So I'm going to stop ranting about veganism for a second. But Cole says your idea to shut down the slaughterhouse, I feel, will not be as effective as you might think. Romans 12:21 says, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. I don't feel like I'm being overcome by evil if I shut down the slaughterhouses, but you also know that I don't like Paul, right? Romans can just be thrown out the window for all I care. And I'm like, but I agree, focus on creating positive change. But that is positive change to shut down the slaughterhouse. If you were an animal and the slaughterhouse got shut down, that would be positive change. So I guess it might be a matter of perspective. For me, it's a positive change too, because I'm vegan. So, and that's the world I want to create, where there doesn't exist any slaughterhouses. No farms exist that have animals on them. Like, so I guess for me, it's positive and effective. Obviously, for the slaughterhouse workers that are making money off of killing sentient beings, they're going to say it is negative. But human slave owners would have seen the slave trade ending as negative too. So it's because they're investing in the evil, right? Hey, Coron, sorry it took me so long to get to your comment here. Do you follow Christ and God? I follow the teachings of the Essene Christ, who, was the true prophet of God and taught God's way. I don't believe in that anyone can die for the sins of another, just like the Old Testament actually says. Um, it has multiple different stories, that says not only like Moses tried to offer himself up for the people, and God was like, no, the soul that sins will die. But there's other references that basically say like, the sons won't be punished for the sins of their father. Every soul that sins will die. Like multiple times, it's like, if you do something wrong, you're the one that's going to pay for it, right? It's not even righteous. Like if I did something wrong and a judge sentences you to jail or even worse, that's not righteous judgment, right? God's a righteous judge. So it doesn't even make sense to sacrifice the innocent for the sins of the guilty. No, the guilty need to be the ones that pay for their own issues, right? Dave says wood ash makes a great fertilizer. That's hilarious. Keeping us operating in those lower energy centers, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, exactly. This animalistic, like, devour and conquer, and like, I'm not saying it's bad to conquer, obviously. I'm kind of essentially talking about conquering Mount Shasta and making it vegan, but it's like this, like they were saying in the movie, the Christspiracy movie, this dominion, like this, just a negative power. Well, they actually didn't say that it was negative power, but they mentioned dominion, and like so many people take that as, we can rape, steal, and pillage all we want, and that, God said so. It's like, no, they're supposed to be in our care, right? They're supposed to be protected by us, just like your dog, your cat, right? Cows feel the same way. They want to be loved and protected, and they deserve that from us. We want to see ourselves as these apex predators, but then like the animals that we consume the most often are like, it's just, yeah, you're not really that big of a tough guy when you go up against a cow. Let me see you go up against a lion with your bare hands, and then we'll see who's the real apex predator. Yeah, you don't want none of that, do you? You want to just go to the store over here and buy your prepackaged, rotting flesh that's been pumped full of like dyes and hormones and all this stuff to keep it from rotting, and to plump up the animal as fast as possible to make it produce as much as possible. And then you want to be like, oh, veganism is unhealthy. Oh, I only eat organic fruit. Bro, you just ate a cow that was pumped full of hormones from its birth. And you want to complain about non-organic and anything. Get out of here. David D says, when is your next vegan event? Oh, I was trying to say that before, but I think I lost my train of thought because, yeah. So I'll have to send you the Instagram of the girl who's like putting it all together. But they're trying to get a raw food worldwide meetup, and that will be the last Saturday of the month, which is the 29th, I believe. Let me see you, calendar. Yeah, so the 29th in the Mount Shasta City Park at 1 p.m. I plan on just having a small get together for that. We'll see how it goes. I need to start taking pictures of my spread and stuff before everyone digs in, but yeah. So anyways, David D, after that, I'm not sure. I still want to do like a monthly vegan meetup in the park, but next month is when my first full moon celebration is scheduled. So I wonder what day that is. The 21st. Yeah, so maybe I might do a meetup in the city park on the 13th as well of July. So we'll see. We'll see about that. I'll let you know. Cool says, have you discovered any Essene churches in the world? I heard that there was one maybe in, I think there might be an actual one in Oregon. I'm not 100% sure. But I also heard from you. Didn't you tell me that there was one in like Quebec, or in Canada somewhere, the biggest one? Okay. Kyle says Romans 1:18. Let me look up in my handy dandy Bible here. Oh no. Okay. Why is this? Oh, that's bright. when I was growing up, we had to like learn the song, like, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Okay, so we had to learn like all the books of the Bible by these little songs. But anyways, and I remember like having to do speed drills at church, like you hold your Bible up and then they say what it is, and you have to like everyone rushes to find it. Okay, Paul 1:18. I just said Paul. It's not even. It's called Romans, but yeah, Paul 1:18. Um, Seeing that what may be known about God is manifest to them, for God has What do you say? Oh, 18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and wickedness, for those men who in wickedness hold back the truth of God. Seeing that what may be known about God is manifest to them. Yeah, that's interesting. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, his everlasting power also and divinity, being understood through the things that are made. Yeah, actually, I mean, I do like that too. I wonder who Paul stole that from. But for me, it's really obvious when we observe nature that there's a creator. It's always been really obvious, but I also didn't come, like, I grew up in a Christian family. I went to Christian school. I never was taught atheism. So I've always thought that atheism was like incredibly stupid, frankly. Um, but yeah, the more that you study creation, the more that you will find the creator, right? Not just outside of us, like the perfectly designed ecosystems. And, when you become a flat earther, like the way that the sun and the moon move and just everything that it's so clearly intelligent design, right? And then in your body, like I've said before, we have all these little tiny highways of blood, like going to and from all of our heart and all these different locations. Like it's so intelligently designed. There's no way that it could have evolved. And that's even beside the fact that, evolution literally isn't possible. Your DNA is self-healing. It's constantly trying to return back to normal. So every time, you eat something bad, the DNA is like, like let's fix it, right? And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to have a balance between fruit and fasting, so that you're not always in this building stage. Every time you put in, you're building, right? You need to stop putting in so that the body can tear down and clean out and kind of break down and get ready for the new. So yeah, our bodies, just the way that everything is designed is like just so intelligently. It's just so obvious to me that God is real. So um, yeah, I actually refer to atheism as ignorantism because it relies on ignorance of where we are, right? If you're a flat earther, you know that there is a creator. You can't have this enclosed realm without it, right? But they give us this godless belief system, this atheism, the globe earth, the big bang, so that we, will be programmed from a young age to, God isn't real, whatever, and be in these atheistic mindsets. And, obviously people that believe in God can do evil too, but, there's like a certain beliefs also in the atheism that's just like, I'm not saying all atheists are the same, but like, yeah, some of the teachers in that I'm kind of thinking of maybe like Dawkins or something, and the selfish gene, and like just kind of stuff like that. But yeah, and also it's really sad to think that there is no God or afterlife, or like when you die, lights out. Like there's kind of also this fear too that comes with that. And for me, it's like, I know death isn't the end. I don't want to die now, but I definitely want to die in a way that's impactful and like that means something, rather than doing nothing and dying like of old age. So yeah. Anyways, all of those godless belief systems to drag us down and corrupt us, really. And yeah, all that we need to do is look around us and we'll see that God is real. So let me see if there's anything else from the Christspiracy thing that I haven't really mentioned. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it was just a really good. Oh, the tarp. I'm not sure if you can even see this. I think I tried to show it in my live stream on the Shasta Vegan community, but it didn't really. I was having some trouble with the internet. You probably won't be able to see this anyways. But Yeah, so there's these huge windows in the room, and it made a glare on the TV. And the person that was helping me, that I already mentioned, went like above and beyond all of the help that I could ask. Basically, was able to like rig this tarp system up so that when people came, they could see the beautiful. Like it is a stunning view of Mount Shasta. Like the owner was like, "Oh, why don't you just put a tarp up there?" I'm like, "But I want people to be able to see that like beauty, and then we put it down for the movie, right?" So I mean, I'm asking a lot, and my expectations were not very high at all because, frankly, I mean, I wouldn't have done it myself if it was up to me. I had other things to do, so like I wouldn't have had the time or the energy or anything to put into it. But yeah, I basically kind of said my idea, and then I went away and came back, and it was like it was done. And then there were some issues in the planning because the way the tarp was being pulled down. Like part of it was still being looped. I'm like, oh, why don't we put some like support ropes up there? And like, yeah, it was just really cool to like have these ideas and then disappear and come back, and then they were nailed, but they were executed, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, that was really cool. So um, oh, Cole says you were gravely mistaken. Aw, I'm sorry that. I was actually really excited about that church in Canada that you talked to me about. I would definitely like fly to another country to connect with some of the scenes. Well, I don't know if I can't speak any of the language that they speak. Then I'm not sure about that. But actually, cool. I think there's I really think that I remember there's a group in Oregon that might do like yearly meetups as well. So let me look into that and I'll get back to you. Um, Kyle said, "Did you get goosebumps when they revealed Den of Murderers?" That was really a really good scene. Like a lot of the like the editing and stuff, they did a really good job at. Um, I got goosebumps in a lot of different parts. So yeah, the way that they edited it was really good. And um, yeah, talking about like the red heifer sacrifice and all of the like they just really incorporated a lot of things. Um, so that was really cool. Kind of makes me want to make my own documentary about Christ being vegan because I will just like lay it out with the Essene stuff there, but that'll be for a different day. Different project for a different day. Um, Cole said, I will definitely be checking out the website and see about starting an Essene church in the USA and or Canada. Gotta get some followers first. Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what I'm trying to do here in Mount Shasta with the vegan church. It's not called an Essene church, but I would base my teachings off of that primarily. But like even Hinduism, Buddhism, even Islam has scriptures against like hurting animals. Like there's these core ancient beliefs that the people have had, and then like throughout time they've strayed away from it, right? Like Christ being this, I only eat fruit and you should only eat fruit too, and now it's trickled down years and years and years later, a lot more than that, but years and years later, that he eats fish and God commanded animal sacrifice, and you're a doctrine of demons if you follow Genesis 1:29, right? So like the original part of like all of these religions, like in general, I would say like they tend to start off as a good thing, right? And there's these universal truths that are in all of the different religions. That's why like the Trinity and just different components that are overlapping in different religions. That's part of like a universal truth, like the universal religion. That's the true religion. Um, but yeah, everything has kind of strayed from that and become more and more corrupt over time, and that's just how it happens, right? Like the powers that be, especially try to infiltrate and corrupt anything that humans make that's good, and they want to come in and sow seeds of doubt. They'll pretend to be your best friend and come to your events and stuff, and they just will go around behind your back spreading their darkness and corrupting people, right? So and that's how they do it. And then they get leadership positions, and then they can change your scriptures, they can change the rules, they can force things on people in the group, like, and totally just change the direction. Which I was trying to mention before. The Egyptians the Israelites in Egyptian slavery is where they learned all of that stuff. And then when Moses brought them out of slavery, he tried to get them to stop. And he basically said, okay, well, since I can't get you to stop, we'll just, for the sake of safety, like stay away from these unclean animals, like only sacrifice these and only sacrifice them to God, right? Like don't be going over here and sacrificing to demons or like these other entities, right? Like keep your worship and praise only to God, right? And he said, someone later is coming that's greater than me that'll fix all this mess, because he's just like, I can only do what I can do. I can't force you guys, I guess. But then Christ came and was like, for this end I have come to put away the sacrifices of animals and the eating of flesh. In the beginning all the animals ate fruits and herbs of the trees, and it actually goes on to say, those that loved themselves more than God or their fellows did all of this and filled the world with lust and violence, right? It's kind of interesting too to think about this whole lust and violence thing, because obviously the violence is obvious, but there's like this weird, the animal industry like relies on rape, and it's really weird that they call it like husbandry. How are you going to say this is husband, like your husband, when you have your hand up a cow's butt? Like there's just like this bad, right? Like, and then so that's like the sexual corruption you are eating something that began with rape. That sexual corruption, degeneracy, like just whatever. But then there's also all the hormones that are pumping in, and you give your children that, and now all of a sudden they're hitting puberty at like 8 or 9 years old, and mix that along with all the programming that says, oh, you're not cool if you're a virgin, oh, you slept with 1 million people, high five, right? Like this mentality that is all around us. And it's really quite easy to see how lust and violence is filled through even just the animal agriculture trade alone. And fueled by other things too. So Dave says, build it and they will come. Yes. And plus I want to do it at the city park too, the Athene church. So it'll be like really convenient for people just to stop by and say hi. One of the things that's like, I want to have like coffee and tea and like all of these refreshments and stuff too. So it's like not just as simple as me going and sitting in the park and bringing my books. I always seem to go I go overboard, but like when you think of like a church gathering, tea and coffee and like donuts sometimes, like just, I don't know, I want to make it something that's special. And I think I need to reevaluate like also my programming, because I'm not emotionally eating myself, but it's like I feel the need to like give people food and feed them. Like I feel like I'm kind of just thinking about this right now. Like I'm kind of forcing my emotional issues with food onto other people and like kind of bringing that into the situation. And if I reevaluate that, maybe my light refreshments will actually be light refreshments at some point in the future. But it was really nice to have all of that food though, because people come and like one of the people, like one of the little groups that was there, like I'm not sure that they like even have food. Like I'm not sure that they even have a home. So it was really nice to be able to give all these people all this food and kind of help them as well for future meals, right? Like I didn't just feed you for one meal. I fed you for like maybe a few, maybe a week. I don't know. However much overboard I went with the cooking. So that's really, really nice for me. Cole says I will. Oh wait. Oh, I already read that. But anyways, yeah. So Cole, you should definitely check that out. And also, I think it's called the OctagonSociety.org has uploaded some. I think I already sent you this, Cole, but has uploaded not only the Essene, like their apprentice manual, their healing manuals, but also they have like the first book uploaded is like almost 400 or 500 pages, just like of their teachings and their science. And people want to try to say that science and religion don't go together, but the Essenes like were very scientific in all of their things. Like Even with the dietary stuff, like they will go into details about like, what components of the food digest first. So talking about how you should eat things, which Kyle will probably resonate with. Mr. Watermelon Man, the fruit segregist, right? You're not supposed to like eat, you're not supposed to, right? The rules, whatever. God really made us to kind of be monofruitous, like frolicking around the Garden of Eden. You just kind of eat one fruit and then you move on, and like not, oh, let's go get a chopping board and knife and make a deluxe salad with dressing and if you're me, like Parmesan cheese and like just, yeah, a salad would be so good right now, but I'm gonna resist. Um, but yeah, that's not really what our creator intended for us. And if you think about like how easy it would be for like your body, like let's say you sit down with a watermelon, your body is just like, okay, watermelon, watermelon, water. It's very easy to digest. There's no complication in that. But then you start adding other fruits and stuff. It's like, okay, this bite was watermelon, this was a grape, this was cantaloupe, and it's like the body, the mind, like you have to keep readjusting for like what you're eating. And different things again have different digestion speeds, so it really complicates the system when you start adding like more products to like the meal that you're eating. So there is like Essene teachings about kind of keeping your meals very simple. Find, like they even say, find like one or two things that you like and just stick with that. Don't be worried about having like this, oh, I need to eat a different thing every day type, which you could, right? There's so many fruits on this earth that you could eat a different thing like every day of the week, and it wouldn't even phase you. But yeah, if we can control our diets and kind of like not be so overindulgent, it definitely helps in the spiritual progress of things, and not just spiritual, your health wise, right? Because they're both interlinked together. If you're purifying your body, your soul, like they're connected together. Either one's along for the ride. So whichever way you're going, both things are going. And realistically, we're impacting the world around us too. So, just the people that we interact with, um, and the actions that we take, right? If we go to the store and eat animal products or whatever, but we're either impacting the world around us to make it better or make it worse. And the default is to make it worse, to go along with the programming, to eat McDonald's, to whatever, right? All these negatives to keep us on a downward slope, and that pulls everything down, right? So we need to kind of switch gears and evaluate ourselves and say, what am I doing that I can be better at, and then do it, right? And then we can all be better and impact those around us and the world. So, hey, Harmon Walker, how's it going? You are late to the party, buddy. It starts at 12. I'm probably about to get off of here because I want to go and chill and not be doing anything, because I've been doing stuff for like the past 2 days, and yeah, it's been rough, but it's also been very enjoyable actually. Just I've had a lot of good company, and like it was a good time. So I'm grateful for the experience, and I'm really glad that it went well. There's quite a few people there, and especially that we got to go on the live stream afterwards too. Hopefully, dropping the Gospel of the Holy 12 will help other people. I actually bought a few extra copies and was just like kind of passing them out. I eventually need to get like a huge box of them and just take them to all of my events and pass them out, because I tell people like, this is the book that changed my life. This is why I'm vegan, and then they're interested usually. So yeah, so it's kind of my thing. Hello, Mohandas, is that how you say your name? Is the Essene Church based on Catholicism and other teachings? Well, the Essene Church would be based on the teachings of the Essenes. There's a difference between Catholicism, which kind of leans more towards mainstream Christianity, and this atonement for sins, and whatever. But there are some things in Catholicism, like the Mary, right? Like this idea of the mother and the son, the Trinity in that. So Catholicism does have overlapping things, because the scenes, it's the mother, really. We're supposed to go to the mother first, according to the Essenes, right? You go to the mother, and she takes care of you. you purify through her with her angels, right? Like the angel of the air, the angel of earth, the angel of water, the angel of, all of these different elements, and they help purify your body. And then when you're purified and like you're ready to go, you're an adult, right? Now you're ready to go to the Father. So it's kind of interesting with the patriarchal religions that they skip the mother and they go straight to the Father, and it's like, well, you haven't even like when you're a baby, right? The mother's usually your primary caregiver, so it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Not that that's always the case, but obviously, especially with breastfeeding babies, the mother's like the one that's doing all of the, again, not to negate the father, he helps too. In a perfect situation, right? It's a balance, like helpful thing. But yeah, this whole concept of like when you're younger, you stay with your mom and you learn like all the things that you need to learn. And then when you're older, you go off into the field with your dad and you learn how to take over the family business or whatever. So it's kind of like as above, so below in these concepts for the Essenes. But yeah, back to what I was saying. The Essenes do acknowledge Lord and Lady Christ and the Divine Mother, the Divine Father. So there's definitely overlapping things, but it's definitely not Catholicism as Catholicism is known today. For my own vegan church, I would definitely, if Catholicism has verses that talk about not eating meat, like I would definitely embrace that too. It's not about religion, it's about veganism, and that's kind of like the core that brings us all together. And we, frankly, if you want to stay a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Hindu or whatever, like we're not arguing about that. What we're agreeing with is veganism, and the more that we purify and really connect with our higher selves and this divine nature, the more of those other religious beliefs, like all of the false beliefs, are going to fall away. So we're going to naturally have this more of a unified congregation over time, because we have been purifying and growing and learning together and all of these things. So yeah, it's been really nice to like learn about Buddhism and stuff and Hinduism and all these other things, because they have really some great principles and life teachings that are really good take-home messages. So I would love to get more into that and teach you guys more about that. So Cool says, thanks. I just sent you a food combining chart from Dr. Robert Morse Herbal Health Club. He's a fruitarian thinker. I had a great time in his life while shoveling gravel. Oh, nice. Oh, in this live. Okay. Oh, you were doing some work. Well, I'm glad that you could join us while you're doing work. Hopefully that went well. I hope you have a great day. And thank you for the food chart. Yeah. Kyle was kind of the one that mentioned the food chart the most before. I used to have this raw book. I think it was like Raw Done Right or something. And it actually talked about food pairings and had different recipes that were in line with those. I lent it to a friend, so I'll have to see if she's done using it or not. But yeah, for me, for now, I'm kind of just sticking to only 1 or 2 pieces of fruit at a time, and it's actually really working out for me. And I don't feel hungry at all. I feel like I'm not feeling lazy or lacking anything. So I'm super excited. Hopefully, I can help encourage other people to get on the fruit train. But yeah, I'm gonna head off of here and go, and I actually have to unload my new ride and yeah, get some stuff cleaned up from yesterday, and then I'm gonna relax. So I really enjoyed chatting with you guys. I appreciate you joining, and I hope to see you next week, same time and same place. May God and the Goddess bless you.